Leila Rao, and I'm here in the next installment of our LIA100 series. And my guest today is Monica Hernandez, who is the CEO and founder of an agile company called Moss Global. Monica, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So to dive right in, tell us something about your journey and how you became the CEO of a consulting company.
Sure. So I was born in Medellin, Colombia. So I'm a Latina, and I grew up in a humble neighborhood. I lived through some years of challenging times in Colombia. And then I had this amazing opportunity of a full academic scholarship for a software engineering degree in one of the top private colleges in Colombia. So that changed my life. And through that, I came to Texas to do an internship. And from there, I started an IT career in the US. So now I am, after being in a consulting company like Oracle, I decided to start my own journey as an entrepreneur using Agile and software development teams in Colombia and the US.
That is amazing. So I've got to ask, did you make a conscious decision to specialize in IT, or how did that happen?
Well, I was very intrigued by technology and what it could do. I was only 15 years old when I made the decision, so I didn't know quite what I was going to find. But as soon as I started, I knew that that was where I needed to be. So I guess it was somewhat a conscious decision, but I definitely enjoyed it.
It sounds like you had a very clear sense of what intrigued you at an early age.
Yeah, well, I always had a very supportive family. My mom always emphasized on the importance of education. And even once I got married, my husband quit his job so I could create my own business. So I think as women entrepreneurs, we always appreciate having a network of people that are willing to help us out.
Absolutely. Let's talk more about that. What was it like, the decision to start your own company? Was it just right time, right place, or did something make that decision inevitable?
Yeah, well, since I grew up in Colombia and I had that opportunity to get my education, and then I decided to stay in the US and I completed my master's in computer science and engineering degree. And I felt that I was living the American dream, having a job at one of the largest software companies. But then I wanted to create opportunities for others in my home country. I knew that there was so much talent in Latin America, and geographically we have the same time zone as the US. So being able to manage large global technology projects, I realized that sometimes projects didn't fail because of the technology, but because of the way people collaborated or didn't, or because of the communication. And so I felt that if I sort of leverage that talent and the proximity to the US, I will be able to provide opportunities to people back home and sort of give back to the community that way.
That's an incredible perspective. How do you balance the cultural challenges of American clients and a Colombian workflows? Time alignment certainly helps, but there have got to be cultural challenges that come with that role.
Yeah, that's a great question, because it's actually one of the advantages that Latin America talent has when working with American companies. The cultures are actually very similar, right? We follow the same type of sports. We're all very social people. A lot of people from Colombia is in the top of Latin America, so it's very common for some there to travel to the US. Colombia has increasingly become more available and more appealing to people to go visit. And so nowadays, when I say I'm from Colombia, they're like, oh, I was there, or my family was there, or I love to visit. When our clients come and visit our offices in Medellin, Colombia, they love the weather, they love the food. But I think above all is the people, right? It's very warm and very open. So I think if anything, the culture actually helps to build that close relationship and that high interaction that you want in any sort of agile environment.
It sounds incredible, and it sounds like Colombia is a good cultural fit for Agile as well.
I think it is, for sure. Yeah, in Agile, you want the teams to be open, and to know just wait for one person to dictate how to do things. So you want to empower the teams, and the teams need to be open to be empowered as well, right? So everyone needs to propose new things. Everyone needs to say, I didn't quite understand that. Can we go over that one more time? So I think that definitely helps when you're having those daily calls or the sprint planning and people are voting. You definitely hear people's voicing their opinions in a Colombian team.
I did not know that. I'm delighted to know that. What has been your experience like being an ambassador for both Agile in Colombia and the US, because you have all these hats that you wear?
I think it's been great because I'm an American as much as I am a Colombian now. I've lived half of my life in the US. This is where I did my entire career in IT. So this is what I call home now. And so to me, being able to build hybrid teams, but some of our team members in our Agile teams are embedded at the customer side, and they live in Texas and Wisconsin and California, and then we support those teams with our nearshore teams in Colombia. So I kind of get the best out of both worlds, and I get to visit my clients and my teams in the US, and then I get to go to our offices in Colombia. So I feel very blessed to be able to combine the cultures and the talent, the diverse talent, right? In our company, we have people from 9 different nationalities, which is amazing, right? There's been tons of research done in terms of more diverse teams being more innovative, because you have all these perspectives that you bring to the table.
That's extraordinary, because we sometimes forget when we talk about Agile teams, diversity is really needed for the game-changing nature of Agile teams, and you're delivering just that.
Absolutely, and diversity includes different backgrounds and different nationalities, but also having women in our teams, right? And definitely leadership roles as well as developer roles. I mean, in our company, I'm a big advocate of women in technology, even girls in technology, because we have to start early on. We have some games and some things that we've done with girls in Colombia, actually, to sort of make it interesting for them, right? Like, this is also for you. It starts at a very young age, and we encourage everyone in our company to not only have diverse teams, but to be inclusive, right? To really listen to ideas from women and to encourage their participation in every level of projects, whether it's a technical decision or a management decision.
I love it. Sounds like a recipe not just for a great Agile organization, but a great culture for all of us.
Yep.
Building upon that, can you talk a little bit about your community engagement, the programs you're doing for girls, all the things that you have done as a speaker?
Sure. So we're very involved with the community. I'm in Florida. A couple of years ago, Mass Global was actually a sponsor of the Agile conference. So that was a very exciting experience. We had a booth. We had one of our Scrum Masters from the US there, our nearshore development director. We had Colombian coffee in our booth, so some people will be drawn to the smell of the great coffee we have. So that was an amazing experience. And then, of course, with women in technology, Medellin is a thriving city and is now the first Latin American city to host the 4th Industrial Revolution Center with the World Economic Forum. So decades ago, it was seen as a challenging city when it came to safety, and nowadays is definitely a technology destination for talent. A lot of the large companies are there. So we're very involved with the community there as well. We have some Microsoft MVPs who give talks. Some of our developers participate in meetups. There's a foundation that we support. I was there last Christmas with girls that go from 3 years old to 18 years old. We took a unicorn, is a robot, and then we had an app, and we told them how to use the app to change colors. And it was very girly, but very intriguing for them. And it's amazing how easy it was for them to learn the technology. And so those are the kinds of things that we do. Because I had this great opportunity with the scholarship that I received, then we also provide a scholarship for women in tech. So right now we're actually selecting a girl from a low-income neighborhood to have a software engineering degree, which is equivalent to a computer science degree in the US. And we want to do that in addition to English, because in a global digital economy, you have to be bilingual. So definitely very involved with our community.
That is extraordinary. Given your experience in bringing these kind of opportunities to girls, especially Latina girls, what could organizations be doing better to bring in new perspectives and the groups of people, women, girls, who are not often represented? What could we be doing better?
I would say there's a traditional way of looking at who is qualified to perform a role. And I think we need to look at what skills are really necessary to be a key team player of an agile team, right? What kind of mindset do you need to have? For example, we just finished a QA, a quality assurance bootcamp. We got some sound engineers that knew nothing about quality assurance, right? But they had a detail-oriented type skill, and they had great communication skills, great teamwork skills. And we took them through a 3-month training program, and now they are shadowing others to learn how to become QA engineers. And so I think we need to be more creative. It doesn't take 5 years for someone to be able to code, or to be a tester, or to be a scrum master, right? There's a lot of reskilling that I think we can do, especially with women that are eager to be part of the workforce and to have all of these skill sets, right? To make people feel that they're part of a team, to empower them, to make them contribute. And so we need to be more creative on who can be part of our teams.
Okay, that is amazing, because we have this label and boxes in which we expect qualified applicants to come in, and it's really redefining what we need versus what we think that we need.
Absolutely. And even it works the other way around. As women, we also need to be less perfectionist, right? There's been studies by Harvard and others where they show that if there's a job application and there's 10 bullet points, if we don't meet every single one of them, they're like, oh, I don't apply. But if it is a man, they're like, oh yeah, I applied to most of them, right? So I'm just gonna apply. And so we need to understand our value and what we can bring to a specific organization or role, and just have the agile mindset, right? That we need to experiment and learn from it and find our own path.
I love it. So applying the agile mindset to recognize the potential that we have before anybody else can really recognize it in ourselves.
Absolutely. And supporting each other. I think we need to be our biggest supporters and amplifiers. I mean, what you're doing, amplifying other women that are doing great things in the Agile community is great. But even in small settings, if you're in a business meeting and there's another woman that said something that you think is a good idea, amplify it. Oh, that's a great point. I really believe we should try that. And that really helps, right? Even in our family or friends, if we talk about what opportunities there could be for them, I think that can make a big difference.
That's incredible. There was an article in Washington Post, I want to say about 8 years ago, when President Obama was in office, talking about the women in his chief of staff, his office, that were making a point to amplify each other's voices. And that stayed with me, because so often a woman says something and then 5 minutes later, a man says the same point. I was like, oh, that's an amazing idea, Bob. Where did you get the idea from?
Right.
It's such a pity, though. Given all of the experiences and successes you've had, what would be your advice to other women who perhaps don't see themselves as successful and inspiring just yet?
Well, I would say consistency and discipline is very important, as well as knowing that you can find your own path, right? In the age of digital and social media, it's very easy to see the success of people saying, oh, I just got this. We, for example, just became one of the fastest growing companies in the US, and we have over 130 employees. So that's definitely a success story for us, and we have a lot more work to do, but that didn't come overnight. And there's a lot of hard work and a lot of people that have made that possible. So don't think that you need to be just going at a faster pace to keep up with other people, because everyone has their own trajectory, their own goals, their own purpose, their own balance between family and career and entrepreneurship. And so I think just knowing what you truly want and being disciplined and learning along the way, because every little thing that you experiment or every failure, everything that happens sort of takes you a little bit farther on your path to what you think is success for you.
That leads me to ask, has there been times in your career where you were at a pivotal point where you could see multiple opportunities, multiple paths, and you had to choose one? Can you share a story about a moment like that?
Yeah, I think when I have been with Oracle Consulting for about 6 years, very successful there all over the US and Europe. And I was talking to my husband about starting a family, like, hey, we kind of need to have kids. And in the consulting life, you're on the road all the time. And I always had in the back of my mind, we need to build something where we provide these opportunities back home in Colombia and use all this knowledge we have around technology. And so the decision there was, well, either we find another type of job that will accommodate us having a family and not having to travel as much, or we just say, let's just take a risk and let's just start this entrepreneurship journey. And that's what we did. And it wasn't an easy decision because it was doing that at the same time that I was learning how to be a mom, but had amazing support from my husband and my mom and my friends. And that's all it takes.
So, okay, we talk about supportive community, right? It sounds like you have that one. Is there any advice you would give other women on how to build their community? How do you cultivate the support system you do need?
Yeah, I love that you asked that question, because part of my journey has been to become part of many different networks. For example, I just came back from Singapore. So Dell Technologies has a group called DWEN, Dell Women Entrepreneurs Network. There were about 110 women from all around the globe, women entrepreneurs. We all met in Singapore for 2.5 days. And it was amazing. We learned from each other. We realized that we all had similar struggles. And that we can help each other in many different areas. So find networks like that, right? For example, we're a certified women-owned company, so we're part of an organization called WeThink. We go to national conferences, there's local meetings, there's meetups, there's the Women in Tech organization. So find your tribe, right? Find maybe not one, but many groups, and see where you fit best, not only for you to get help, but for you to help others, right? It needs to be all fluid in terms of contributions.
Everything you're saying resonates so much with me, because those are some of the values that we had intended for LIA. We have this structure called Offer Seek. The idea is that everybody is an expert in something. So rather than waiting for an expert or leader to lead, everybody share what you have based on where you are, so that you give and you take, and that we grow collectively.
Absolutely. We all have something to offer. And I think that's very helpful when you are in a networking type environment, when you feel like, well, how do I start? Well, don't go in with the mindset, what am I going to get out of this? Go in with the mindset of, what can I offer? When I meet people, let's figure out if I can help them with something. And then when the time comes, they will help me with something that I need.
I love it. Servant leadership in action.
Yes.
It sounds like you found that the Agile mindset applies as much to your life and your choices as it does to your work.
Definitely, right? This is being agile in everything that we do. And I'm not going to say that it's always been clear. In my own journey as a business leader, for example, I found that we were not always being as agile as we should have been. And now I'm trying to correct that. So again, success is not always linear, right? So we all learn from our own journeys, but definitely the mindset of minimum viable product, right? Just earlier today, I had a meeting with one of my leaders, one of my directors in Colombia, and she was very concerned about not having something 100% ready. And I said, remember, right, 20% of what we do has 80% of the impact. Let's focus on what truly matters. Don't worry if it's not perfect, and we'll go from there.
That is brilliant advice that all of us can benefit from, I think. Monica, thank you so much. This has been an amazing conversation.
No, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed it as well.
Is there anything else you would like to add before I close this conversation?
Well, I think we all need allies. We all need mentors and supporters. So make sure that you find those in your journey, because that will definitely accelerate your path to whatever you want to get.
Couldn't agree more.